All right, let's dive right into today's explainer. It's wild to look back at the 1980s. Sci-fi movies were confidently telling us we'd all be commuting in flying cars or dodging time-traveling cyborgs by the late 90s. And what did we actually get? Dial-up internet and Tamagotchis. Well, our cultural predictions about AI, they've been just as dramatically off base. Today, we're unpacking the past, the present, and the surprisingly optimistic future of AI, as laid out in our source material. I know, we hear so much doom and gloom in the news lately, but when you actually pop the hood and look at the mechanics of what's being built right now, a totally different, honestly kind of mind-blowing picture emerges. It is absolutely fascinating how our century-old Hollywood fears of, cold, unfeeling killing machines contrast with the conversational algorithms we actually invented. I mean, when we hear the term AI, our brains almost instantly jump to Skynet, right? We picture these uncaring, hierarchical terminators, basically homicidal robots hell-bent on wiping us out. But looking at the reality, the tech we actually got is nothing like that. We got large language models. We didn't build some calculating overlord. No, we built a magnificent mirror. And what this mirror is doing is profound. It's reflecting all of humanity right back at us in real time. So, to break this all down, we're going to cover 5 main areas today. First, the mirror of humanity. Second, evolution and AI superpowers. Third, the cybersecurity double edge. Fourth, the future of work. And finally, number 5, becoming more human.
All right, Section 1, the mirror of humanity. Let's demystify large language models. So instead of a cold, calculating brain, a large language model is actually built by compressing the entirety of the internet into one giant system. In fact, the source material perfectly describes this as smushing together the totality of all human culture. Seriously, imagine taking every single Wikipedia article ever written, right? Every passionate late-night Reddit debate, the complete works of Shakespeare, centuries worth of recipe books, and decades of dense scientific journals, and literally smushing it all together into a singular network. It's not some separate alien intelligence that just fell out of the sky. It's actually a highly compressed, deeply intertwined version of us. And that brings us to a really crucial concept: latent space. When all of that massive internet data is compressed, it forms this highly complex, thousand-dimensional mathematical representation of human culture. I mean, have you ever wondered why an AI can debate moral philosophy so convincingly? It's because when you sit down and type a prompt into an AI, you aren't talking to a simple calculator. You're actually firing a probe into this vast, thousand-dimensional latent space. The AI navigates that space, it finds the exact mathematical coordinates of human thought, and sends you an echo back from collective humanity. It literally contains the sum total of our arguments, our triumphs, and our flaws.
Moving right along to Section 2, Evolution and AI Superpowers. We're looking at scaling laws and rapid growth. Okay, thanks to what the tech industry calls scaling laws, simply making these models bigger and feeding them way more data has rapidly unlocked some truly incredible new capabilities. Just look at the AI superpower upgrades from the last 18 months alone. The leap is, well, it's staggering. First, we have reasoning. You can literally watch an internal monologue happen where the AI argues with itself to creatively solve a logic puzzle before giving you the final answer. Then there's tool use. It's not just spitting out text anymore, guys. It's browsing the web, organizing your data, and autonomously controlling computer interfaces to execute tasks. And finally, multimodality. This is huge. It means an AI can now seamlessly scan a written document, analyze a complex chart, and listen to your voice notes, all at the exact same time. So what does this all mean? Well, these upgrades mean AI isn't just a fun parlor trick anymore. It's become a hyper-competent personal advisor. It is the ultimate tutor that can endlessly and patiently, which is key, teach you quantum physics or conversational Spanish. It's an expert medical consultant that can cross-reference millions of journals to hold your hand through a really complex diagnosis. It's your personal ghostwriter and your tireless coding assistant all rolled into one. This technology is giving ordinary people an unprecedented level of productivity. It essentially puts a whole team of world-class experts right in your pocket, letting you learn, build, and create way faster than ever before in human history.
Which brings us to Section 3, the cybersecurity double edge. We're talking hackers, defenders, and trade-offs. Now, with great power comes some serious risks, right? Some authors in our source material argue we have to approach these new risks through the lens of economist Thomas Sowell, who famously said, "There are no solutions, there are only trade-offs." Certain voices out there point at the risks of AI and suggest, just shutting it all down. However, the source material points out that trying to uninvent this technology would require an unbelievable, almost impossible level of totalitarian control. I mean, imagine a government monitoring agent installed on every single computer chip. The core argument presented here is that attempting to enforce that kind of extreme control could actually be far more dangerous than the technology itself. The sources suggest we can't uninvent it, we have to invent our way through the problem.
And here is exactly why the sources suggest we can indeed invent our way through it. Look, software code, at its very core, is just language. And because AI is a master of language, it's incredibly adept at reading code and finding the flaws. This is that double edge we were talking about. Yes, it makes for a highly capable black hat hacker that can quickly spot vulnerabilities to exploit, no doubt about it. But the exact same property makes it the ultimate white hat defender. Because it can recognize complex patterns across the entire latent space of human programming, it can literally x-ray our own systems. It can find those obscure bugs that have been hiding there unseen for 30 years and patch them off before an attacker ever even strikes. This perfectly illustrates the path forward argued in the sources. Think of it as the AI German Shepherd guarding your digital house. The big strategic concern highlighted here is that if we unilaterally panic and just turn off our AI, we are essentially leaving our digital doors wide open to actors worldwide who are actively developing these capabilities and, let's be honest, aren't playing by our rules. The proposed defense strategy? Having our own AI standing watch on our systems. From massive server farms all the way down to the personal computers sitting on your desk, this technology acts as a loyal guard dog, tirelessly sniffing out anomalies and protecting our digital lives.
All right, Section 4, the future of work. Infinite human wants and the end of drudgery.
Now, I know it's entirely normal to worry about jobs being replaced. We all think about it. But looking at the historical timeline from the material, we can see that automation panic is actually nothing new. Think about it. Do you think the farmers of the 1800s could have ever imagined the job of a software engineer or a social media manager? Back then, almost 99% of humanity worked in agriculture. Then, boom, we introduced industrial mechanization. Today, only a tiny fraction of people farm, but our food production went absolutely through the roof. And those displaced workers, they didn't just sit idle. They moved into industrial jobs, and later into the computer and office era. Every single time technology replaces one form of labor, it frees us up to do things our ancestors couldn't have even comprehended. And this continuous shift happens because human wants and needs are infinite. Because our aspirations are endless, the massive wealth, productivity, and economic growth generated by AI will simply fund completely new, hyper-niche industries. Let's look at a real-world example. If an Uber driver's job is eventually replaced by an autonomous self-driving car, she now has access to powerful AI tools that can instantly teach her how to start, market, and run a highly specialized local tour guide business. Because our human desires constantly expand beyond just basic survival, we are going to continually invent incredible new ways to serve each other.
Which brings us to our final section, number 5, becoming more human, the shift from drudgery to connection.
Just look at the fascinating progression of the music industry. When sheet music was first invented, local musicians completely panicked, thinking their livelihoods were over. Then, when recorded music and later digital streaming gave us infinite, practically free music, people thought it was the absolute end for professional musicians. But what actually happened? It sparked a massive boom in live, human-to-human concert experiences. I mean, why do we happily pay hundreds of dollars for a concert ticket to go stand in a crowded, sweaty room when we have the perfectly mastered audio recording right in our pockets? It's because we inherently crave the human experience. We want the energy of the crowd. We want that real, authentic connection. Our ancestors would probably view our modern office cubicles, data entry spreadsheets, and repetitive factory lines as soul-crushing drudgery. We often act like losing a rote, repetitive job to an algorithm is some kind of tragedy. But by letting AI handle those mundane tasks, we are actually freeing ourselves up. As our basic administrative and physical needs get easily satisfied by this AI abundance, every single profession involving real human-to-human contact is going to absolutely go bananas. When we don't have to spend 40 hours a week acting like robots ourselves, we're going to have the time and the resources to be infinitely more creative and deeply connected. So, I want to leave you with this exciting challenge to think about. If AI handles all the drudgery, what will you do with your newfound humanity? What are you going to build? What kind of art will you create? What specialized passions will you finally have the time to pursue? When the mundane tasks of life are finally taken off your plate by your own personalized AI assistant, just imagine the incredible creative potential you're going to unlock. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time as we continue to unpack the ideas shaping our incredible future.